Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 68 now. And today, we're going to be talking about the Olympics again. Well, it's only 5 days until the Olympics begin in Paris. Now, do you remember we did an Olympics special the last time we met? Well, this is the second special we're doing today. And it's important that the athletes are healthy and well enough to complete in their activities. And joining me now in the studio, Gus and Alec, good morning to both of you. Welcome to episode 68 now.
Good morning, Barry. Thanks for having me.
Morning, Barry.
Well, the athletes must be well enough to fly and well enough to complete in their activities before the Olympics. Well, it's just about midnight over in Paris now, Monday morning, and here's Alec now for his opening sequence on episode 68 with this.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. Thanks for having me on the show. Yep, middle of the night over in Paris, and I think it's going to mean that some events will be good for us to watch down here in Australia, and some are not going to be so good for us to watch. So some will be happening in the early hours of the morning, but there will be all sorts of things for us to watch through the day and at night time as well. So really, really looking forward to it. And as you say, athletes, they all want to be at peak condition, don't they? They all want to be fit and healthy heading into the Olympics.
And even before they fly, because with me being an athlete from boccia many moons ago, okay, I had to be fit and healthy and had to go to the doctors. I had to make sure I was fit to fly. So if you're thinking of becoming an athlete and completing in a sport, you must be well and fit. Here's Alec now.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. So they all the athletes will be totally watching their health. They'll have very strict diets, and they'll be eating very healthy foods, and they'll be avoiding sort of trying to catch colds or COVID or anything like that. Presumably they will all be vaccinated, I guess. It's I wonder about all of that stuff. But yeah, they'll be absolutely as healthy as anything.
And if you do happen to fall ill whilst you are away, it's important that you have all the essentials that you need, like your cough medicine, your cold and flu tablets, your headache tablets, and your tablets for your intestinal problems. Here's Gus now.
Yeah, absolutely. With the professional athletes, with the professional athletes at the Olympics, they will just about always, I would assume, have a doctor with them. So any of those sorts of things, if they've got cold or flu or, sore muscles or anything, they'll go straight to their doctor or their physio, and they'll get some professional advice and make sure that they're looked after as best as possible.
So it is very important, guys, to really look after your health, and also before you fly, you must have a valid passport. Here's Alec now.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. And I presume that all the athletes that we send over, they would have sort of academy of sport type people to help them make sure they've all got passports and visas and everything that they need to travel. And some of them, of course, are traveling to multiple places. So for example, there are friendly tournaments happening in different sports around the world before they get to Paris. So they're traveling to, for example, Las Vegas, and then heading over to Paris. So there's multiple stops around the world on the way to Paris.
So, before you even get on the plane, a few days before you are due to go, make sure that you've got everything packed, okay, and ready to go, because you don't want to be stressing out the day before you go for your flight, and also get plenty of sleep before you go on a long plane journey. Here's Gus.
Absolutely, yeah. Those flights, I mean, I've never done it, but those flights over to Europe, I think, are quite long. And I think you can do like straight to London, but that is the most ridiculous flight in the world. Most people will split that up over 2 or 3. So yeah, it's quite a journey, which as an athlete, those long flights aren't always the best for your body and for your muscles and all that. So you're going to make sure that you're prepared for a long flight, and you're prepared for all the time that you're going to be stuck in cars and trains and planes and seated and not looking after yourself. So you're going to make sure that you're well prepared and ready for that travel.
And I will pause that. Welcome back. The next segment is about being prepared for a flight and controlling your nerves. So, segment 2 coming up. Being prepared for a flight. Okay, before you get on the plane the day before, make sure that you have a good night's sleep. Okay, make sure your nerves are well controlled, because you have to realize as an athlete, guys, that you will be out of your normal comfort routine and away from your bed for a certain number of days and nights, because once you get on that plane and your stomach starts to go, it means that the adrenaline is pumping. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of professional athletes feel that, don't they? They feel sort of nervous before a big meet, a very important meet or an event. And so they've got to find ways of getting sleep. What was your experience, Barry, when you went and competed overseas in boccia? Were you nervous before?
Australia and overseas. Well,
Yeah.
my first one was in my first one was somewhere in Australia, like in Melbourne. Okay. Well, not Melbourne, Brisbane.
Right.
Okay, and I was away from my bed for a number of nights, and the environment was different too.
Were you a bit nervous?
Yes.
Yeah, a bit nervous. And what did you do to calm the nerves?
Well, ate some good food, drank well, slept.
Nice. Were you staying in a hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So the most important thing, guys, is getting enough sleep before a flight and making sure that you don't eat anything that might not agree with you. Here's Gus.
Absolutely. I think I don't get too nervous on flights, but it's that takeoff moment where the plane's rumbling a little bit and everything's shaking. That part is a little bit scary. But as you say, you've got to control the things you can control, which is your sleep beforehand, your food you're eating, and then making sure that you're as comfortable and relaxed as you can for during that flight and everything, to make sure that you can sort of stay in the best sort of mental position you can to get through that slightly stressful or anxious time.
And also talk to your team manager too a couple of days before. Okay, the team manager always organise meetings with us about what's to be expected of me as an athlete, like the behavior side of things, not bringing personal issues away from like bringing it into the mix, because that's also very important too. So any personal issues, it is important not to bring them away with you. Here's Alec.
Yeah, that's really good advice, Barry. And it sounds like your experiences were really interesting. So you had a team manager who was helping to prep you for the journey, and a whole group of people competing, helping you to get prepared and mentally prepared, right? Not just physically prepared, but mentally prepared, in the right headspace to compete. And that sounds really exciting and interesting.
Now, there was a time where I was not behaving at all well. Going back to 2004, where I was letting the team down, okay, and I spent the whole afternoon in the hotel room in the jets.
Were you a bit overtired or a bit stressed?
I don't know, but the coach wasn't very impressed. So pause that again.
I think you're good to go.
So yeah, I wanted to go to the hospital because I was sick in the stomach. And my coach was not keen on that idea.
Oh, that's interesting. So, was it nerves, do you think? Was it, or do you think it was like an illness?
I don't know, but the coach was not very impressed.
Wow. That doesn't seem right, does it? So, mate, I don't think you did anything wrong in that situation. If you've got a funny tummy, you've got to look after yourself, don't you? I mean, it could have just been nerves, I guess. Like, some people have a funny tummy, so maybe waiting a little while to see if it settles down, that could be a good thing to do.
Yeah, and not jumping the gun either, because, and another thing I'd like to talk about too is attitudes on the trip as well. So that's another thing we will talk about right now. Segment 3 is coming up. It is 10 on Monday morning. Welcome back, and this is segment 3. Now I would like to talk about behaving well on a team trip, and even before you get on the plane. Okay, as an athlete, I used to have to make sure that I had a good attitude before I went anywhere. Left all my personal problems behind and making sure I was ready and pumped up and ready to go. From the beginning to the end of the trip. Okay. I'd like to take you back to a couple of trips where I did. The first of them was in 2007. That was to Melbourne. Okay, I did a couple of trips before that. So I went down to Melbourne, and I can tell you it was damn cold down there. The National, it was held down there in a place called near Frankston. Okay, and it was called Mount Eliza. Now, it was very, very cold down there. I had to warm up, and funnily enough, okay, I had to spend 20 minutes in the team bus warming up because the hall was like a tub of Play-Doh's ice cream. And the heater, it was like, heaters everywhere. And I can honestly tell you, when I got up in the morning, it was like, again, a tub of Play-Doh's ice cream. And that's how I put it. Now, I had a very good attitude around that time, okay? But there were a couple of athletes that were sick. I won't mention their names, okay? So it's really important, like I've been saying throughout the whole of the show today, is to be well before you even go anywhere. Okay, that is really important. Here's Alec now.
Yeah, mate, so that's really good advice. You want to look after yourself, get lots of sleep, eat well, eat healthy food before you go, maximize your probability of staying healthy for when you're competing. And it sounded like it was super cold down in Melbourne for that event that you went to.
And also, having a good attitude as well, and making sure that you don't bring your personal issues with you on the trip. Keep them at home, athletes, because no one will want to put up with drama. Here's Gus.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that's important. As you said, the drama and you know, drama within a team is never helpful, and it doesn't benefit the team if the athletes are not getting along, if they're not binding together, because teamwork makes the dream work. That's the saying. And if you're not as a team working together, then you're not going to get the results.
and also being ready to go on court, making sure that you have your equipment ready and that you're on call in the call room on time. Now, a call room is where they get set up, okay, and if you're not in the call room at the designated time, then your game will be forfeited. Now, if I was not in the call room, example, okay, my game will be forfeited, and the person that was playing against me, they will win 6, I get 6. So if the person that was playing with me, they weren't in the call room on time, they would be disqualified. So I will win 6, they will get 6. So it's very important to be on time for your games. So you would have to be in the call room 15 minutes before your game commenced. And that's important, making sure that that I had all the equipment that I needed, okay? And before we even went into the call room, okay, we used to do a warm-up session at the venue, so the coaches had organized the vehicle to go to the venue, and so we would get warmed up, just like the cricketers, the footballers, the soccer players, the swimmers, you name it, it happened. Okay? And if I had a game on at 8:30 in the morning, which I used to do, okay, I would have to be up at 5:30.
Wow.
Made sure that I went to the men's room, okay, did whatever I had to do, had some breakfast, and then sometimes at the venue we would have a teams meeting. Okay, and that was important. And towards the end of one competition, I got really very unwell. And that was on the last day of competition.
Where was that one?
That was in Mount Eliza, where I was staying. And I can tell you, I was gone by the end of that tournament. I was well and truly gone. And at the presentation that night, my name was called out and the coach had to wheel me out. And I was that sick, it was not funny. And I even fell asleep on the team bus on the way back to Melbourne Airport.
Wow. You must have been super tired.
Very.
Yeah.
And I was glad to get back to Sydney because as soon as I got home, had a shower, straight to bed, and I was in bed all day. The next day, I was crook and I didn't even go to my day option program. I was sick as a dog.
Was it tummy sick or like a cold?
A cold, yeah.
Ah, Right. Yeah.
and it
That must
was,
happen a lot with athletes, right? Where you're getting a whole bunch of people together from around the world. Somebody brings a cold or a flu or something. They must get sick a lot. You know?
yeah, so really I was falling asleep. I had to switch off, mate, you know. It was terrible. So guys, I'm really focused on your health, okay? And your attitude, and stick with the team. Cheers, guys.
Absolutely, Barry. And, you know, as you say, sometimes you can't control it. Like, you get sick, it happens, but you're just going to make sure that you do everything you can to try not to get sick. And then if you do get sick, you just make sure you look after yourself and you look after your teammates and try not to get them sick as well.
Now, eating the right foods, okay? Don't eat junk food, okay? Okay, don't eat McDonald's. Don't eat Hungry Jack's or Kentucky Fried Chicken because you need the energy to play well. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. So I think particularly in the lead up to a big event like that, like we've been talking about, you want to eat healthy, lots of vegetables, you want all of the vitamins and minerals, you want to have a very healthy system with maximized immunity so that you can be at peak performance for your competition.
And also making sure that you go to bed early, because if you go to bed up early, like say 5:30 a.m., okay, like I was on most team trips, like it was early to bed, early to rise, as you say. Okay, don't stay up watching television all night because that's not how you should be prepared for a game. You can, and also, I'd like to talk about listening to what is being said at a team's meeting. Because if the team manager says you have to be down at the bus at a certain time, you have to be down at the bus and ready to go. No dawdling, or should I say dawdling, is the word that I'm looking for. Okay, because dawdling and doing things like that, the coach will not buy that, and neither will the rest of the team. Because when I went to Kuala Lumpur, okay, we were up at 4:30 in the morning, and that was an early start, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But getting back to eating healthy food, guys, when you're on a team trip, okay? Eating the right fruits, vegetables, a bit of meat, etc. Here's Alex.
Yeah, Barry, that sounds like very good advice. And probably not just for athletes competing in the Olympics, but for people every day. Eat balanced foods with a good range of vegetables, some protein. Yeah, eating healthy to stay healthy and to maximize your chances of not getting sick.
And also show good sportsmanship too. Cheer your team on. go, yay, if they've done something good. And if they lose a match, say, bad luck next time. Never scold your team. You can show disappointment, but don't go on about it. Here's Alec.
Absolutely, Barry. That's really good advice. Good sportsmanship is so important, isn't it? It's good for how everybody enjoys competition, and it's good to celebrate victories, and not to ever be happy about someone not doing well. You always want to encourage people. You want to encourage people to participate and to do their best. So sportsmanship's super important.
And at the closing ceremony, you may be called up on to make a speech. Now, I was called up on to make a speech at the closing of the Brisbane Games in 2008. And that was a really good thing. Thanking someone for their dedication and hard work. And that was good. And also that night, the team selection for New Zealand, and I happened to be one of those people. And I'm so delighted.
Did you go to New Zealand?
I did, a couple of times.
Wow. Wow, mate, you have travelled the world with your sport. It's impressive.
And for Australia too.
Yeah.
Because I've been to Melbourne, Brisbane and Perth.
What was the Kuala Lumpur story?
The Kuala Lumpur story, mate, it was deep hot.
The weather was warm.
Yeah, like we left Sydney at 10:20 at night and got there at 4:45 the next morning. Getting out of the airport at 7:20 in the morning, it was 28 degrees. It looked like somebody had turned on the oven or a frying pan. And I'm wearing this jacket like I am now. So we had a 40-minute bus ride to our hotel. We only had 20 minutes to freshen up and back on the bus to the venue. And it was a very, very long day. Extremely long. Early to bed, early to rise, and then after the competition we got to do some sightseeing around Kuala Lumpur. We had thunderstorms as well, because it was the thunderstorm season too. And oh boy, the bunch of team trips, they were good. So I retired from boxing in 2014, and my last ever match tournament was at Narrabeen in 2014. And I got retired on top. So guys, there's the boxer story and me about my boxer career. So I hope you have enjoyed listening to it and going on the team playing home from Portugal it was a 36-hour flight, the same going over there. So we had to be at the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning because our flight was at bypass day in the morning. And we arrived in Singapore, again, like it happened. We all had to have showers and freshen up. And it was a very long flight, I can tell you that right now.
Did you sleep on the plane?
We had to wear an eye mask. So guys, I hope you will take away some of the information William talks about today on the show and planning how to get to the airport and knowing what time your flight is. Here's Alex.
Absolutely, mate. Lots of good information in today's video. Stuff about planning, stuff about eating right and being healthy, having a good attitude, good sportsmanship, and then a little bit of interesting information about your travels around the world, mate. You have been all over the world playing for your country.
And the last thing, okay, having enough money for everything and a valid passport. So make sure your passport is valid. And the last thing today I would like to talk about is not pulling out of the trip at the last moment. The last thing I'd like to talk about today is canceling the trip without a good valid reason, and especially a week before you are due to go. It is really inconsiderate to cancel a trip before you are due to go a week in advance, because remember, you will pay good money for you and your assistant, and your plane ticket has been purchased. So unless you have a good reason, guys, do not cancel your trip a week before you are due to go, because you are potentially not only letting the team down, but your assistant. Here's Gus now for this.
Yeah, that's right. Are you speaking from experience? Did this happen? Was a trip cancelled? Because
No, but I'm just giving examples.
no, absolutely. That's, yeah, as you say, if it's lots of planning goes into one of those trips, and there's lots of things that you paid for already. I'm assuming if you're a week out, flights and hotels and transport, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you've already paid for it, and everything's sort of already organised. So unless there's a very good reason, if there's an emergency that pops up and you need to cancel, that's okay. But otherwise, yeah, you should try and stick to your commitments and make sure you follow through.
And don't cancel your taxis to and from the airport either. And make sure that you commit yourself to the trip as well, because it is really important, because this is what today's show has been all about, preparing for your trip overseas or in the state. Okay, and another thing I forgot to mention, if you are going somewhere where the time zones are different, make sure you set your watches. Okay, because if it's 10:50, 16, Sydney now, it could be 7:56 in Perth. I'll just get Alex to check the Perth time.
I think you're right, mate, but I will just check quickly for you.
So always be aware of the time zones if you are going somewhere in the state.
2 hours difference, Barry.
2
So
hours.
they're 2 hours behind us. So it's nearly 11 o'clock here, it's nearly 9 o'clock there,
So-
but it might be different in daylight saving.
So guys, I really do hope that you've enjoyed episode 68 today. And my closing announcement, community announcement, as always, do not ring 000 unless you have an emergency. Don't be stupid with that number, please. Here's Alec now to take us out with that message now.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. Always a great community service announcement. Make sure that you only use 000 in an emergency so that it's always available for people that really need it.
So if you need to call an ambulance if you're away in the state, okay, make sure that you tell the 000 operators the hotel that you're staying at and what floor that you're on, so that the paramedics know where the hotel or motel is that you're staying at, okay, and what room number you're in. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. What I think what you're talking about is good organisation. Good organisation.
So make sure you inform the 000 operator of the hotel that you're staying at. If your room is up on a level, like say level 3, make sure you give the operator the room number that you're on, the level that it's on, and the room number that you're on. Here's Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. So that anyone that needs to get to you in a hurry can get to you very quickly. They know exactly where you are.
And give your phone number, mobile phone number. So, Gus, what would you do with me if I was away with you and I needed an ambulance?
Well, I mean, all the things you just said, it depends where we are. Are we in this country? Are we overseas?
No,
In
Australia,
Australia, good. Well, then we know the number. What's the number, Barry?
000.
So we'd call 000. I would make sure that they know where we are, they know how to get to us, and would listen to their advice because they're the experts and they'll tell you what to do.
So if we were a Blue Gum Lodge,
Gum Lodge in Springwood. Yeah.
example,
Lovely. Then I'd tell them, hello, this is, we're at Springwood Lodge Blue Gum Lodge in Springwood. I'd give them the address, and then they would know exactly where to find us. And then I would listen to their advice and I'd stay on the line, make sure you stay on the line, and let the experts do their job.
and tell them the room number 2
Yep.
in case the ambulance and paramedics need to come to your room.
So, and depending on where you are, if there's other people, you can get someone to wait outside the front, so they can, direct them in or something. But if you're by yourself, then you just tell them exactly where you are, what room you're in, and how to get to you.
So we hope that this information today has given you some good advice, and As always, don't use Triple O if you don't have an emergency guide, because it is a waste of resources and time. Okay, I always bring this up at the end of the show because it's just to stop idiots wasting time. And from us now at episode 68, we hope you've enjoyed it. Barry, Gus and Alec saying bye-bye. The time is 2 minutes past 11 and 2 minutes past 9 if you are in Perth. If you are watching from Perth. So good morning to everyone around Australia. Bye for now.